Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the reporter for this video. My name is Musanif Dima Abbas. Topic assigned to me is all about the importance of qualitative research across different fields. Qualitative research has methods. Number one is ethnography, interview, focus group, phenomenological research, grounded theory, case study, observation, narrative research. Let us define those methods of qualitative research. We begin to ethnography. Ethnography, research in their natural environment rather than in laboratory. Study of people, culture, and their own environment through the use of methods such as participant observation and face-to-face interviewing. Second one is the interview. Is face-to-face interaction between us interview and interviewee. It helps to explain, better understand, and explore research subjects, opinions, behavior, experiences, phenomenon. Interview questions are usually open-ended questions, so in-depth information will be collected. And qualitative research is conversation, where questions are asked to elicit information. Number 3 is focus group. Are a form of group interview that capitalize on communication between research participants in order to generate data. The idea behind the focus group method is that group processes can help researchers to explore and clarify their views in ways that would be less easily accessible in a one-to-one interview. Number 4 is phenomenological research. It explores what people experience and focuses on their experience of a phenomena. Focuses on the commonality of lived experience within a particular group. Typically, interviews are conducted with a group of individuals who have first-hand knowledge of an event, situation, or experience. Number 5 is grounded theory. Involves the collection and analysis of data. The theory is grounded in actual data, which means the analysis and development of theories happen after you have collected the data. It was introduced by Glasser and Strauss in 1967 to legitimize qualitative research. Number 6 is case study. Is an in-depth study of one person, group, or event. In case study, nearly every aspect of the subject's life and history is analyzed to seek patterns and cues of behavior. Case studies can be used in a variety of fields including psychology, medicine, education, anthropology, political science, and social worker. Number 7 is observation. Participatory means where the researcher is immersed in the day-to-day activities of the participants. Number 2 is non-participatory, whereby the researcher watches the subject of his or her study with their knowledge but without taking an active part in the situation under scrutiny. The last one is narrative research. It aims to explore and conceptualize human experience as it is represented in textual form. Emphasize its own story experience. Generally, this takes the form of interviewing people around the topic of interest, but it might also involve the analysis of written documents. So let us now enter to our main topic. Number 1 is qualitative research and education. Number 2 is qualitative research and technical communication. Number 3 is qualitative research and psychology. Number 4 is qualitative research and advertising. Number 5 is qualitative research and social work. According to Green and Bloom, 1997 distinguished between ethnography of education and ethnography in education. So what is ethnography? By the way, the words ethnography derived from the Greek ethnos, meaning a company, later a people, nation. Graphy meaning field of study. Ethnographic studies focus on large cultural groups of people who interact over time. Ethnography of education, conducted by external researchers, for example, sociologists and anthropologists, focuses on big picture questions such as how education is perceived in different cultures or societies. Investigates what counts as education from different groups, examining their beliefs, values, and practices related to learning. For example, a researcher studying ethnography of education might explore how different cultures define good education, whether they value memorization, creativity, or hands-on learning. Ethnography in education, conducted by insiders, for example, teachers and staff, focuses on specific classroom or school dynamics, for example, interactions between teachers and students. Examines how social and cultural factors shape daily school life and learning processes. For example, a teacher conducting ethnography in education might observe how students from different backgrounds respond to various teaching methods. Some may prefer lectures, while others might learn better through group discussion. Key ethnography question and education. Number 1 is what is considered knowledge in classroom. This question explores what is value as knowledge in a learning environment. Different culture, institutions, and teachers define knowledge differently. For example, in a traditional classroom, knowledge may be defined as factual information from textbooks and lectures, emphasizing memorization and standardized testing. In a progressive classroom, knowledge might include critical thinking, problem solving, and student life experience. In indigenous education, knowledge may incorporate oral tradition, storytelling, and community practices differing from Western academic norms. A teacher choices of curriculum, materials, and assessment methods reflects what is recognized as value, knowledge, and that settings. Number 2, how do teaching styles match students' learning preferences? This question examines whether educators' teaching methods align with students' diverse ways of learning. Teaching styles include lecturing, hands-on activities, discussion-based learning, and technology-enhanced instructions. For example, a visual learner may struggle in a lecture-heavy classroom but thrive with diagrams and videos. A kinesthetic learner may prefer hands-on activities like science experiments, rather than reading theory. In a multicultural classroom, some students may come from backgrounds where collaborative learning is encouraged, while others are used to individual competition. If a teacher primarily lectures and does not adapt to these differences, some students may disengage. However, a flexible approach, such as incorporating group discussion, multimedia, and hands-on projects, can enhance learning for all. Number 3, how do students reach to academic evaluation? This question looks at how students perceive and respond to different types of assessment, such as exams, essay, presentations, and participation grades. For example, a student raised in highly competitive educational system, for example, rote learning-based culture, may see grades as the ultimate indicator of success and feel extreme pressure. Another student from a collaborative, project-based learning system might feel frustrated with high-stakes exams and prefer ongoing feedback. In a classroom where failure is stigmatized, students might resort to cheating or avoid challenging tasks. Conversely, in environments where mistakes are seen as learning opportunities, students may embrace challenges with resilience. Understanding students' reaction can help educators create more supportive assessment methods that foster motivation and learning rather than fear and stress. Number 2 is qualitative research and technical communication. Qualitative research and technical communication focuses on understanding how people interact with and interpret technical content, such as manuals, websites, software interfaces, or other instructional materials. Qualitative research seeks to explore the underlying experiences, attitudes, motivations, and behaviors of users through non-numerical methods. Focus group methods are used to probe deeper research results in order to describe or illustrate current practices and technical communication, which can take the form of email, fax messaging, video and voice conferencing, intranet and extranet, jargons and graphics. Qualitative research seeks to explore the underlying experiences, attitudes, motivations, and behaviors of user through non-numerical methods. It also helps improve the effectiveness, clarity, and user-friendliness of technical content by the understanding the human experience behind it. For example, a company is creating a user manual for a new software product. The technical writers may conduct usability testing as a part of their qualitative research. In this test, they invite a group of potential users to try the software while using the manual as a guide. The researcher observed how easily users can follow the manual's instructions, noting areas where users become confused, ask questions, or get stuck. They may also ask open-ended questions. Some common methods used in qualitative research in technical communication includes: number 1 is interviews, number 2 is focus group, number 3 is usability testing, number 4 is ethnographic studies, number 5 is content analysis.